I was in Turkey watching hot air balloons fill the sky at sunset, and next to me was the man of my life. Suddenly, he got down on one knee, holding a diamond ring.
Sophia, from the moment we met, I knew you were the keeper of my heart. Please say you'll marry me.
Yes! Then he leaned over me for a kiss. But wait, why does it feel so sloppy? I ignored it and went with the flow, then... Wow, not me. Still in bed, wiping drool off my face. Definitely not. Hi, I'm Sophia, the girl so in love with other people's love. Romance is my jam, and my whole life's motivation. I've lost count of the sleepless nights I've had just so I could find out the ending to a love story. Who knows? Maybe one day I'll have a perfect romantic relationship like those characters. Only reality won't stop slapping me in the face with 17 years of loneliness and counting. I know it sounds quite normal, right? Until some mean girl started mocking me and my hobby every day. Soph, how many novels have you read this week? I don't remember. Maybe 7? Wow, that's impressive. You must have a lot of love experience by reading these, huh? And how many roses did you receive this year? Oh, that's 0. School sucked, and home was not better. My parents mostly worked far from home, so it was usually just me rattling around the house. I got super lonely, but luckily, I had Gabrielle to keep me company. She's a sweet old lady I care for after school. She's a kind soul who always tells me the most magical love story, her own. My husband could have picked any girl, but he chose me. From the moment our eyes met across the meadow with only bluebells and buttercups separating us, we both knew that we were meant to be. Aww, this only fuels my drive to find true love, to know how it feels to be completely and utterly adored by someone. But no matter how hard I tried, my dating experiences were no more than a romantic comedy series, without the romantic. When I told Gabrielle about them, but she laughed and said I was too picky. I'm not picky, I swear. I just want my love to be perfect. He has to be smart, handsome, caring, romantic, and have the cutest smile. You must know someone. What about Shane? Didn't you like him at one point? I did, until I saw his B in geography. My boyfriend has to be good with directions or else he'd never find his way to me. What about my neighbor Iris's son? He's a smart young man your age. That nose picker? No way! This is hopeless. Am I destined to stay in this single inferno forever? Anyway, I needed to stop moaning and focus on my job. I started dusting, but I was so busy daydreaming that I knocked over a picture frame. I quickly picked it up and saw it was of a cute guy. Gabrielle, who's this? That's James, my grandson. He owns a company that makes robots. Oh, so that's why your house is fully equipped with cleaning robots, dishwashing robots, and so many others. Yes, I'm quite proud of him. But alas, I see him once in a blue moon 'cause he's so busy. But if you'd like, I can arrange for you two to meet. Thank you, but tech bros are a pass. Guys, I wasn't into nerdy guys who didn't have time for anyone but their latest inventions. I wanted my dream guy to only have eyes for me. Gabrielle then had an emergency at her neighbor's house, so I stayed and continued organizing all her junk. The plan was to put them in the garage, but there were so many corridors in our house that I took a wrong turn and ended up near the steps to the basement. The box was heavy, and I figured a garage and a basement were both storage places, so I took it down there. Huh? What is this place? It's like something out of Westworld. Then my heart almost jumped out to see this. Wow! He looked so lifelike that I unconsciously reached out to touch his skin. It felt as soft as a human's. Oh my god, I accidentally pressed some buttons on it!
I love you, my mistress.
The heck is that? Stay back, or else I'll hit you!
Mistress, you are beautiful.
Don't come any closer! Despite my threats, he started chasing me around.
I am at your service, my mistress. Please stop running.
Back off! I am not your mistress!
I believe this is yours, my mistress.
Well, it didn't seem like he meant any harm, and just acting like a true robot. Curious, I tested out some of the different modes, and oh wow, he can make a flower bouquet out of metal scraps, massage my feet like he's the world's best masseuse, and lift me like I don't weigh anything to him, like it comes straight out of a sci-fi movie. I tried searching for more info on this robot online, but no matter which keywords I used, no relevant results came up. It's almost time to go home. I needed to get back upstairs before Gabrielle found out what I'd been doing. but I couldn't find a deactivation button anywhere.
That tickles, haha. Can you please stop, miss?
As if you could feel tickles! Ugh! This will do for now. That evening, I was having dinner when I heard my doorbell ring. I opened it and was astonished to see that robot with a heart-shaped box.
Please, let me court you, my mistress.
Why on earth are you here? Go back to your place. But the robot didn't take no for an answer and kept harassing the doorbell and peeking through my window. Man, I can't take this anymore. I left my jacket at Gabrielle's, but I don't want it to disturb her. Can you go get it for me?
My mistress, I will not leave your side, even if it means I have to disobey you.
So I had to walk him back to Gabrielle's house. I tried making him crawl through the doggy door so he wouldn't trigger any alarm, but little did we know. Oh my god, her security system reaches that part of the house too? Hey, robot, it looks like you're gonna have to stay at mine.
I don't like this name, mistress. Please give me another one.
Fine, I hereby name you Edward, after, the handsome Edward Cullen.
Quite outdated, but handsome is fitting.
Maybe I could get Edward back without Gabrielle knowing. I didn't want her to think I was a snoop, or worse, a thief. I liked her far too much to risk losing her as a friend. Only, having a robot around complicated things. Luckily, my parents were on a business trip, but that let Edward freely wreak havoc at my house. He put my toothbrush into the toilet bowl, ruined my white shirt by washing it with my pink sweater, and made me a cat food sandwich. I thought robots were smart. Why is this one so dumb? Also, I can't stop Edward from following me to school. Honestly, I couldn't help but feel a little smug in front of those mean girls with Edward by my side. As everyone gathered around the new student, he just randomly started singing and made up song about how much he loved me, and even threw heart-shaped confetti out of nowhere all over me. I needed to get him out of there before he pulled anything else, or worse, before they found out he was a robot and thought I was even more desperate than I already was. I finally managed to get a quiet night after leaving Edward with the cat, when suddenly I heard banging sounds. Jeez, Edward is roaming around again. Ed, can you please leave my cat alone? I'm trying to sleep. But then I heard footsteps marching toward me. I opened my eyes to see a masked figure holding a big bag. Who are you? Help! Then Edward immediately charged in and tackled the intruder to the floor. I was shaken up, but I managed to call the police while Edward stood guard over the knocked-out thief. Edward kept asking if I was okay, and if I got hurt, I couldn't help but smile back at him. He saved me, and was so cool doing it. From that day, I started treating him like I would a real boy. I showed him my favorite books, enjoyed movie nights with him, and went feeding the ducks in the park together. The more time I spent with him, the more I started to realize he was my other half. Well, see, he could make milk tea exactly how I liked it, gently comforted me when I got a B in English, and was unbelievably patient when it took me ages to decide my next move whenever we played chess. Best of all, we could have long, deep talks till the sun comes up. He was so perfect. As much as I didn't want to return him anymore, I felt guilty every time I faced Gabrielle, so I came to her house less and less. She texted me asking if I was okay, but I simply replied that I was busy with school. It seemed that she hadn't known anything about the disappearance of Ed. Life with Edward was just too good to give up, aside a few limitations. This morning I came to him with open arms, fully expecting his warm, fuzzy embrace, but turns out robots suck at giving hugs. It felt like hugging a mannequin. Then there's the occasional lagging, which was super embarrassing when it happened in public, like knocking over a stack of cans at the supermarket level of embarrassing. Or sometimes when he just froze for like 15 minutes loading my commands. But that's not a big deal. We were still happy together. Until that day. We were on a picnic in a meadow when it suddenly rained. We looked at each other and started laughing, chasing each other barefoot through the slicking grass, then dancing under the sudden silver curtain, twirling and splashing like giddy children. In that moment, I knew the storm outside was nothing compared to the one raging within, a joyous tempest of connection and love. Suddenly, Edward moved slower and his voice trailed off. Sophia, I don't feel so good. I won't make it. That's when I came back to my senses, realizing he wasn't a human. How can he suffer under the rain? No, Edward, no! You have to make it! Don't leave me! I really, really like you! How nice would it be if you were a real person? Then, to my horror, he froze on the spot. I tried to get him to move, but it was no use. He'd shut down. I couldn't sleep or eat or do anything. It was horribly empty without him. No one here asked me if I was okay, and no one's there to make me milk tea or laugh at silly things anymore. Worse still, prom was fast approaching. I decided to come without a date. I walked around, seeing people talking and laughing with each other, and somehow I felt so lost, and even lonelier than before. My heart sank to the floor. I couldn't be here any longer. As soon as I returned home from school, I went immediately looking for my Edward, but he wasn't there. Edward had gone! Hey, I'm Sophia. If you missed the first part of my story, I'll get you up to speed. I'm a hopeless romantic with the worst luck, until I stumbled upon the most gorgeous robot in my friend Gabriel's basement. Crazy, huh? Guess what? I also named him Edward and started dating him. But then, out of the blue, he vanished. So here I am, running around looking everywhere for my robot boyfriend, who had actually shut down. Ugh, I should have exercised harder. I kept running and running and running when bam! I accidentally ran head first into, oh my god, Edward! I immediately wrapped my arms around him so tightly. Where have you been? You got me worried sick. But hang on, his body's warm, and I could feel his heart beating. I let go and stared at him. This is Edward's face, all right, but something seemed off. I couldn't stop myself from poking his arm and pinching his cheeks. Whoa, you can blush now? Were you upgraded? Then I gave his hair a pull test and another hug. This is perfect. I love it. Then a drop of sweat landed on my cheek, rolling down to my mouth. It even tastes salty. Ed, you're so cool.
Enough already, crazy girl. You're lucky I don't condone violence against the mentally ill. Kindly get away from me, please.
So you're a real person?
What the heck?
Then why does he look just like Edward? As if things couldn't get any worse. The mean girls from school drove by. They seemed to have recognized me because their car slowed down and one girl stuck her head out. Walking to prom all alone? Where's your boyfriend? Did he see some sense and dump your sorry butt? Looks like you returned to spinsterhood for good. I couldn't say as much as a squeak back and simply lowered my head in shame. They were not wrong. Suddenly, someone linked arms with me. I looked up and saw that guy.
I'm her new boyfriend. You got a problem with my girl?
I was confused. So were the mean girls. Isn't he still the same guy? Is he crazy too? Birds of a cuckoo feather flock together. Let's go, girls. I was so grateful that he'd come to my rescue that I absent-mindedly clung onto his arm and jumped up and down in excitement. The guy just shook me off coldly.
Calm down. I only did it because I don't like seeing anyone being picked on, especially if they really are crazy. Anyway, do you remember where your house is? I'll take you home for safety.
Hey, I'm not crazy. I'm absolutely 100% normal. Let's see. The first person to discover America was Christ.
Okay, that's enough. No need to prove.
Then he told me his name was Nathan and asked why both me and those mean girls seemed certain he was my boyfriend. Yeesh. I couldn't exactly tell him I dated his doppelganger who's a robot, could I? He already thought I was nuts. It's just, you look a lot like someone I used to date, but, only from a distance. Close up, you have different eyebrows, different frowns, different smiles, and different expressions.
Okay, I guess that makes perfect sense.
Wow, he actually fell for that?
Okay, bye.
Wait, I still needed to find out if Nathan the human and Edward the robot were somehow connected. Hey!
What now?
I, enjoy talking to you, even though you think I'm crazy. Would you want to hang out again? I could show you my sticker collection? Jesus, what are you saying, Sophia?
Sure, you can hit me up whenever. Here you go.
Oh, wow, that was easy. I guess I had much more games than I thought I was. But 3 days had gone by and I still hadn't texted Nathan. I followed the 3-day rule and waited. But what if he ghosted me? The possibility of rejection sounded bad, but not finding Edward seemed even worse. That thought freaked me out so much I hit send without thinking. But I felt regret right after looking at my nonsense text. No way he would reply. Then my phone dinged.
Not since I was 12. Why? Don't tell me you collect robots as well as stickers.
Just curious. I don't collect robots, but now I'm thinking about it.
You make collecting robots sound the same as collecting stickers.
We messaged back and forth all day, and then before I knew it, we arranged our first date. We met at the park and he brought me ice cream. I happily accepted it, while still focusing on my mission. Yum, ice cream! Do you think robots get sad that they can't eat it?
I imagine they don't give it much thought.
Wow, you seem to know a lot about them. Did you study robotics or artificial intelligence?
No, I didn't. It's obvious robots don't enjoy ice cream like we do.
So you don't want to be a robot?
No, not really.
I tried to subtly sneak more robot questions in, but he managed to answer all of them and never seemed caught off guard or anything. The thing is, I was enjoying spending time with Nathan, especially as I was extra lonely without Edward. So I agreed to go on more dates with him. I also decided to start visiting Gabriel after school again. Today, I brought her some cookies and apologized for being absent, but she seemed distracted. When I asked her what's wrong, she just said, "I misplaced something important, and now my grandson is unhappy with me." Oh no! She already knew about the robot! Have you seen it anywhere? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to activate it. It just looked so real and it followed me home and became my boyfriend, but then it vanished and... Sweetie, what are you talking about? It was me. I took the robot.
What robot? I was talking about the control for the toaster robot.
Say what? I was screwed, and now I really had to come clean. Then I showed her a picture of me with Edward, and also me with Nathan.
Dearie me, they do look like twins. James hasn't said anything about it, so he probably hasn't noticed either. In the meantime, please keep looking for Edward, but it's best that you investigate the link between him and Nathan yourself. If I start asking James questions, he'll only get suspicious.
I was relieved Gabriel didn't scold me. She's right. I needed to solve these mysteries myself, and the only way was spending more time with Edward's identical human twin. And I'd been doing just that. Nathan and I had gone on a couple of dates already, and I liked how he was always sweet toward me, even though I was still shy and found it hard being around human guys. He always took care of me and didn't seem to notice any other girls. Best of all, we had a special spot just for us in this beautiful forest that Nathan showed me. I gradually noticed how similar he was to Edward, like how both of them often surprised me with sweet treats, didn't mind when I said or did silly things, and smiled whenever I smiled. Nathan was also super smart.
Do you know it takes 100 cocoa beans to make one candy bar?
I didn't know that. I just know how to love you.
Me too. You know what? The longer I'm with you, the cuter I find you. I just can't resist.
This cool guy had a silly side to him too, like when he'd bet me he could catch a squirrel or climb a really tall tree, which reminded me so much of Edward running after my cat. But unlike a robot, Nathan had this funny snort laugh and he chewed his nails. Ew! And he could be a grump when we were watching TV. He had this annoying habit of changing channels mid-show. ADHD much? Usually these traits would have put me off a guy, but for some reason when it came to Nathan, I found them endearing. I guess relationships aren't always rosy, because humans are supposed to have imperfections, right? Although, I figured there are things we could accept or overcome together. So I encouraged him to give the nail biting a break, and he eventually stopped. Besides, I gradually can't get mad when you took over the remote anymore. Nathan, I'm watching it!
Babe, just 5 minutes, please.
And who knew that a high-speed car chase could be so thrilling? So far, I'd say our relationship had been spontaneous, unexpected, and a whole lot of fun. Time passed, yet there was still no sign of Edward. I owed it to Gabriel to solve this mystery before her grandson found out and got mad. I knew I had one option left. Ask Nathan directly. Nate, you need to come clean with me. Do you know anything about this robot?
Yeah, right. Calling me a robot. Very funny, Soph.
Okay then, do you remember doing this? I saw Nathan's grin fade to this puzzled look.
I don't know anything about this. It's concerning that someone is using my appearance for an artificial intelligence product. Who knows what this could lead to?
Talking to Nathan hadn't helped at all. I was left feeling even more confused than before. So I decided to take action. The next day when I came to Gabriel's, as usual, she was putting on her coat to leave. She told me she just had to drop off a present at her neighbor's, but she'd be back soon and I must stay and join her for dinner. Time and place, Sophia. Being alone in her house, I found myself staring at the basement door. That's right, I'd looked for Edward everywhere except here. Maybe I'll find some clues there. The coast was clear, so I headed down to the basement. I only wanted to see if there's any traces of Edward, then out of there. But I ended up discovering something shocking. Edward was there. Someone must have brought him back. Before I could get a grip of the situation, I heard footsteps. This could be my one chance of getting answers. So I hid in the corner and couldn't believe my eyes when I saw the person entering was... Hey, I'm Sophia. If you missed part 1 and 2 of my story, then you should go and check it out. Here's a quick refresh. Somehow, I landed myself a boyfriend named Edward. He was everything I'd hoped for, except that he's a robot. The one day, he suddenly went missing. I tried to find him, but instead, I found Nathan, who was identical to Edward, but human. I wanted to know how this could be possible, so I started dating Nathan to figure it out, but still had no clue. Then, my jaw dropped when I saw Edward back at Miss Gabriel's basement, where I first found him. Just then, I heard footsteps coming in, and I had to hide myself. And the person walking in was... Nathan? Wearing a lab coat?
Next to him was another guy who looked just like Gabriel's grandson. So he must be James. But what did Nathan get to do with James and this basement lab?
The actuator's frazzled. We need to do a better job of making him waterproof. He's fixable, sir. We just need to give him better defense against the elements. I have this special coating paint that might help.
Good. No wonder you're his creator. Hold on. Nathan created Edward for James's company? He knew about him this whole time and he'd lied to me? But why?
Oh, and finish it before the launch this weekend. About that, I'm not sure this is the right time to launch the robot.
Why?
What if people use it for the wrong reason? Imagine a world where a robot replica would replace someone in important situations, like their own wedding or a proposal dinner. Wouldn't the other person get hurt once they find out? The person they have feelings for or getting married with is an apathetic robot?
You're talking about that girl, Sophie, aren't you?
Don't you dare tell me you have feelings for her now. You're the one who created the robot. You're the one who wants to show it to the world. Why let a test subject change your mind? She's not a test subject. You're saying this, but you're the one who programmed it to fall in love with the person who activated it and put a micro camera in its eyes to gather sample footage. Didn't you have fun replaying them over and over again?
Those words left me speechless. That's who I was to him this whole time? Just some guinea pig to test out his product? How could he be so heartless? I tried to stop the tears from falling, as now was not the time, but then accidentally knocked over a box.
Who's there?
I froze at the spot as James came straight at where I was hiding, peeking through the stuff covering me.
Found you, little mouse.
With panic surging through my body, I leapt to my feet and ran into the only elevator down here and pressed close before he could reach me. I thought I'd lost them as I reached the garden and stopped to take a break, when suddenly I felt someone gripping my arm. Nathan?
Soph, please, let me explain everything.
I didn't want to talk to him, so I tried pushing him off me. He touched my shoulder and tried calming me down, but this only made me angrier. You used me! How could you do that? I liked you, Nathan. I really liked you, but I was just an object in your stupid experiment.
It wasn't my intention to use you, Sophia. You snuck into the lab that day, accidentally activated the robot, and it fell in love with you. James saw that as an opportunity to see how the robot would interact with a human, and I went along.
Are you saying I brought it all on myself?
No, I
literally told you everything. I even repeatedly asked you about Edward, and you didn't have the decency to tell the truth, and you want to blame it all on me? Was anything happening between us real? Do you even like me?
Sophia,
My heart was raging as I waited for his answer, when...
Nathan, do you see her? No, she didn't go this way. You should go. Let me handle James.
I ran away immediately, but as soon as I got home, I realized something. That was my one chance of confronting them for the way they treated me like an experiment. But instead, I just ran away like a coward. Stupid Sophia! Anyway, now that everything's out in the open, I don't have any further questions. It's true they lied to me, but those feelings came from my own heart. I can't blame anyone but myself for being typical gullible Soph. But even days later, I couldn't shake those feelings off. I was too sad to eat or drink. Even thinking felt like a stab to my heart. I just didn't understand how Nathan could do this to me. Then I got a message from Gabriel. She was worried because I suddenly left the dinner that night and hadn't come back ever since. Oh, sweet Gabriel. She even asked if something was bothering me. She'd been nothing but nice to me. Even when everyone else had walked out of my life, from a robot to a real person. My parents didn't help either. They were never there for me. Gosh, if only I could tell her everything without troubling her. I sobbed myself to sleep. But the next day, a call from Gabriel woke me. I felt bad for ignoring her messages, so I ended up answering it.
Sophia, come over to my house. I have something very important to tell you.
I tried to ask her what it was, but she refused to say it on the phone. I agreed to go over there. So for the first time in days, I showered, dressed, and left the house. On arriving, I saw the car in the garage. When I went inside, I asked Gabriel about it, and she told me it was James's.
That boy has been locking himself up in his room for days. I was worried about him and wanted to know what was going on. But only when I asked about the robot did he tell me the truth about his project.
I'm listening, Gabriel.
I was so shocked to hear, and I bet you were too, right?
James told me you had heard their whole conversation. I told James off for doing that to you. I apologize on his behalf. He's not a bad boy, but he's so passionate about his experiments that he overlooks the hurt it may cause. He has learned his lesson, especially now that the project is cancelled because that trainee Nathan has disappeared with the robot. What? Nathan did what? But why? I thought he was only using me. Was there something that I didn't know? I called him right away, trying to figure out where he went, but it came straight to voicemail. Is everything okay? I reassured Gabriel, then asked her if I could talk to James. She agreed and led me up to his room. When he opened the door and saw me, he instantly slammed it shut. It was Gabriel who made him come out again, or he would be in big trouble. You little devil! Who taught you such rude behavior? Pfft, who would have thought that this dude was scared witless of his granny? Then, Gabriel settled us down in the living room so that we could talk things out.
I'm really sorry for doing this to you, Sophia. You see, this is my life's work, and I've spent my entire youth on it. I just didn't expect Nathan to give up halfway through like that.
Aren't you afraid of hurting me when you say that?
You have every right to be, but I hope that you could see my side of the story, which I could imagine is what Nathan must have felt too. He used to have a vision about a robot that could help humans out in difficult situations, and could go to an extent of replacing them, and that got me intrigued. We were so dedicated to this project that when it was about to hit a dead end, we were devastated. But then you suddenly showed up and it started working smoothly. So we decided to keep on track of both of you and the robot to see how stable it is. But things changed when you started to have feelings for Edward, the robot, while Nathan developed feelings for you. That's when he doubted that this project was going to mess with people's feelings instead of helping them like you wanted. That's why he stole the robot and disappeared. He must have felt immense guilt for what he did to you. I didn't understand it back then, but Grandma's made me realize this was thoughtless of me. I looked at James and could tell that he seemed remorseful. Nathan told me to stop, but I was too cool-headed for that. I told him we were continuing. If he tried to stop me, then he'd be breaking the contract and have to pay compensation. So when he heard your wish to turn the robot into a real person, he appeared to make it up to you.
I couldn't believe that Nathan had done that for me. Yes, it was kind of messed up, but it was also kind of romantic. Then James told me how Nathan had not only left with the robot, but he'd also paid the compensation.
I'm bummed out about the robot, but it's a life lesson. You know, it's obvious Nathan's feelings for you are real.
It was a relief to have answers, but it was also sad. It felt so final, and even though I was still angry with Nathan, I wanted to see him again. If only he would zap into my room like Edward did in Twilight, I would definitely swoon. But it was time for me to stop daydreaming and move on. Well, almost. Everyone's allowed to dream, right? This love story may not have ended as happily as any of my romance books or movies, but it had given me new experiences. Love isn't perfect, but it made me evaluate what's important in life. Okay, so I was still single, but so what? I didn't need a boyfriend to be happy, and I didn't need to obsess about finding the perfect guy. I started focusing on myself and discovering new hobbies, made new friends, and I even told my parents how lonely I was feeling and how I missed having them around. They apologized for being neglectful, and even though traveling was part of their work, now when they're home, they make more effort to spend time with me. And even when they're away, they call and text me all the time. Also, I don't work for Gabriel anymore, but we're still great friends and I see her every day. 'Cause I'm now James's consultant. Surprise, huh? Beneath his thoughtless exterior, he's actually not so bad. I am helping him develop a new robot project as I happen to be an experienced robot expert. And under my supervision, the project would definitely not go wrong and mess with anyone's emotions anymore. As for Nathan, I hadn't heard or spoken to him since that day. I still think about him a lot, and I come here sometimes, to our special place. It's so peaceful, and I just let happy memories surround me. Then suddenly, I looked up and saw Nathan! I couldn't believe my eyes, but my body just moved subconsciously to give him a big hug. Sorry, but where have you been?
I was hoping one day I'd find you here. I'm sorry for making you a part of the project without your consent. That was unforgivable. But while watching you, I found myself falling for you. So I wanted to make your dreams a reality. I wanted to make Edward real for you.
You should have been honest with me.
I know. I handled things terribly. But believe it or not, the robot was made with good intentions. I was so lonely and I didn't want anyone to feel like that. But I'm not going to continue developing the robot. I've realized that people need to find the courage to face their emotions. No matter how advanced robots are, they're missing something. A heart. I just hope you can find it in your heart to forgive me. And thank you for making me a better person.
Looking at him, I just knew he meant every word. You have lots of flaws, but your flaws make you, you. Not a robot, but a real human being. And I accept those flaws. Isn't that what love is?
Indeed. So, will you give this robot version 2 another chance?
Shut up and kiss me now.